Welcome to your Happy Hanukkah Color My Cookie kit. Let's take a look at what we have in the kit today. As always, we have 6 cookies to decorate, 2 dreidels, 2 menorahs, and 2 stars of David. We have the palette cookie with 3 different blues, 2 paintbrushes, 1 bag of blue icing, 1 bag of yellow icing, and 2 vials of liquid, 1 silver and 1 clear. And I'll explain what these are in just a minute. There's also 1 sprinkle mix with blue, white, and silver, and 1 bag of fondant pieces with a few small stars of David. There are extra cups to pour in the sprinkle mix and for water. And from your home, you'll need a pair of scissors and a paper towel. There's also an insert with a little bit about Color My Cookie and a QR code to this video tutorial. All right, let's get going. So we've got 3 great cookies to decorate, and I'm going to start with the menorah. So I'm going to take my brush and dip it in just some clear water, and I'm going to paint below the menorah. Just get the part of the cookie wet here that I'm going to attach some sprinkles to. So I'm going to just wet that, and then I'm going to add my sprinkles. So we add a little bit of water to the cookie before we put on the sprinkles, because when you wet the icing, the sprinkles will stick. So I've got my sprinkle mix. I'm just going to sprinkle that on the cookie, and you'll see that everywhere that I brushed it with water, the sprinkles stick, and everywhere where it's dry, they'll roll right off. Perfect. So I've got my menorah, and now I'm going to light the candles. I've got my yellow icing for the flame. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to open the bag. I'm just going to work the bag together a little bit. When this kit comes to you in the mail, sometimes the icing sits in the box in the mail, and you need to just massage it back together. So I'm going to open the bag by cutting a very small hole. I want the hole to be small so that the icing comes out in a controlled way. So I'm just going to test it on the plate here and make sure that it's the way I want. Okay. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold the icing bag in my right hand, and I'm going to squeeze with my right hand, and I'm going to use my left hand to guide me. So I'm just going to pipe little beads of yellow here onto the menorah candles to light them. There we go. Perfect. There we go. There's my menorah. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the dreidel. I'm going to get my brush wet, and I'm going to paint with a few different blues. So I'm going to activate all of these colors. I'm going to take the wet brush and massage the water into the color dot to create the paint. I'm just going to test it on the palette cookie to make sure that it's a color that I like. Ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to paint this section first. I always start by outlining the area that I'm trying to paint and then going back into the middle. Make sure to get all the way in. This design is pretty detailed, so we want to make sure to get in all the little nooks and crannies. Paint the whole thing blue. Okay. Now I'm going to do a different blue for each panel. So I'm going to wash my brush, and then I'm going to go to a different blue. This is the medium blue, the royal blue, so I'm going to take that and activate that. Go to a different panel. Paint this. Again, pretty detailed, so I'm going to make sure to get all the way around all of the detail work. Paint the entire surface blue. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to use the darkest blue, which is a navy. So I'm going to activate that color. Okay. Let's massage the water into the color dot to activate it and test it on the palette. Make sure I like it. I'm going to go for it. Okay. Okie dokie. I've got my dreidel all painted. And I'm going to go back. Actually, now I'm going to switch brushes. So I'm going to put that brush down. I'm going to use the dry brush. I'm going to switch to the silver paint. In these vials, we have two different liquids. One is the silver paint, which is an edible silver powder mixed with lemon extract, which is an alcohol. We mix it with alcohol because that evaporates a little faster and it creates this wonderful metallic paint that is edible. The extra vial is filled with extra lemon extract because as this sits, the alcohol will evaporate and the paint will thicken. And if the paint becomes too thick and you want to thin it back down, that is what the extra vial of liquid is for. So I'm going to get this paint on the brush and I'm going to test it again on the palette cookie. This is a good paint to work with. So I'm going to paint the detail here first. So I'm going to paint the lines silver. I've decided. Oh, so you know what? I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to paint my dreidel. Finish that one. I've got this one little bit of silver I want to do. Then my dreidel is done. And now I'm going to move on to the Star of David. And I'm going to paint the detail lines first. I'm going to paint those with silver color. All of the lines. And we'll move on to the detail. Beautiful color. All right. So I've got that silver detail done. I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to use, first I'm going to use the icing bag, the blue icing. I'm going to massage this together, and I'm going to use this to stick on my sprinkles on my Star of David cookie. When you're thinking about sticking the sprinkles onto the cookie, there are three things you can do. You can paint with just clear water, or you can mix the water with the paint dots to make the edible watercolor paint, or you can use these fresh bags of icing that we include. For this cookie, I'm going to use the blue icing. So I'm going to cut a small hole in the bag. Again, I'm going to test it here on the plate. It's coming out in a nice, even way. And then I'm going to start piping. Again, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold the bag with my right hand and guide with my left. I'm going to put this icing in the middle. So I'm going to go carefully along the edges first. This is why I did my silver detail first. If I'd done this part first, when I tried to paint the silver, then I would get the blue and the silver all mixed together, and I don't want that. So now I'm going to fill in this area with my blue icing. What I like to do is move the bag up and down in the icing. That helps pop any air bubbles that you have. There we go. I've got my blue area of my Star of David cookie. And then I'm going to take these sprinkles and I'm going to put them all over. Sprinkles are so much fun. They're so fun to look at and so fun to eat. So I've got my sprinkles here, and then I've got them all the way on, and then what I'm going to just tap my cookie, and anything extra is just going to fall off. Perfect. A few extras. Awesome. Now we can go ahead and paint the rest. So I'm going to use the light blue. I'm going to get this water on the brush, and I'm going to use this lightest blue. It may have dried a little bit, so add a little bit of water to the paint dot, and then you can go ahead and begin painting. So I'm going to paint very carefully each little section. And then we're going to add a few final details. You can go at whatever speed you like. I'm going to go super fast. Ready? Go. Okay. Did you keep up? If not, you can pause the video here and continue working. I'm going to move on to finish my final decorations. So, I've noticed that there's a little bit of blue here, so I'm going to get my silver paint back. I'm going to try and dry my brush really well. Get all the water off. I'm going to get my silver paint back on here. I'm just going to paint over this little area that I got blue on. Okay. And now I can go ahead and add these little fondant stars of David to whatever I want. And so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to show you, is I'm going to paint one of these silver just on the plate here. I'm just going to paint that silver before I put it on there. It's easier to paint these before you put it on, and you can let it dry, or you can just stick it right on. So I'm going to put that right on there, and the rest I'm going to put on there white. So I'm just going to leave them white. And you can stick them on to a wet area of the cookie, or you can take a wet brush and you can either paint the cookie or you can paint the back of the fondant star. So I'm just going to paint the back, and I'm just going to put it on. If you wet the area, that is how you'll get these to stick. So I'm going to just put that right there. One more there. One more right on top. And there we have it. All right. So here we have our dreidel, our menorah cookie, and our Star of David. Thank you so much for watching this Happy Hanukkah Color My Cookie kit. And remember, the best part about Color My Cookie is eating it. Thank you so much.